Hey, what's up, YouTube? In this video, I'm going to show you how to convert a fraction into a decimal. Now, the first thing to note is that a fraction is a type of division expression. Fraction is a type of division problem. For example, if I have a fraction such as 3 over 8, that is the same thing as saying 3 divided by 8. Now, there are three ways you could represent a division problem or a division expression. Uh, as I just showed you, you can write a fraction 3 over 8, 3 over 8, right? Or 3/8. That's a fraction. And then you can write it as 3 divided by 8. That's with a division symbol right here, division symbol, 3 divided by 8. Or you can write it as 3 divided by 8 with a long division bracket. So 3 divided by 8. Okay? Where 3 is your numerator and 8 is your denominator, or 3 is your dividend and 8 is your divisor. Now, I want you to notice that, like I said, our top number is our dividend, and our denominator, our bottom number, is our divisor. When we set that up as a long division problem, our dividend is underneath our long division bracket, and our divisor is on the outside. That's very important. A lot of people make the mistake of flipping that around. And so you want to read this right here as 3 divided by 8. All right, same with this, 3 divided by 8. Now, a fraction can be converted into a decimal by first writing the fraction as a long division problem. Then using the standard algorithm to find the quotient of that long division problem. And by standard algorithm, that just means the rules of long division. We'll get into what those are in just a second. And lastly, properly placing the decimal point in the quotient. All right. And so the next question is, if we have a fraction that we're turning into a long division problem, how do we do the long division? And that's called the standard algorithm of long division. Let's go over that. So the long division standard algorithm or rules that we follow are 1, we divide, 2, we multiply, 3, we subtract, and 4, we bring down. Let me show you what I mean. Let's go with the problem that we're working with. We have 3 divided by 8. So the first thing we want to do is ask ourselves, how many times can 8 go into 3? Well, 8 can go into 3. 8 can't go into 3. And so we would put a 0 here. 8 can go into 3 0 times. All right. So 0 would be our first number in our quotient here at the top. Now we multiply. That's the second step. What is 8 times 0? We multiply 8 times 0. 8 times 0 is 0. Our next step, we subtract. Okay. We are subtracting 3 minus 0. 3 minus 0. 3 minus 0 is 3. Now we bring down. We don't have a number to bring down, and so we put a 0 here to bring down. Okay? We bring down that 0. Now we have the number 30. Now we start from the top again. All right? So we're back at the top, which is divide. And so we're asking ourselves the same questions. How many times can 8, our divisor, go into 30? How many times can 8 go into 30? All right. 8 can go into 30. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. So 8 can go into 33 times without going over. All right, 3 times without going over 30. And so now we're on step 2 again. We multiply 8 times 3. What is 8 times 3? 8 times 3 is 24. And so here we have 24. Now we're on step number 3. We subtract 30 minus 24. 30 minus 24 is 6. We don't have another number to bring down, and so again, we put a 0 here to bring down. Okay, when you don't have a number to bring down, we just put a 0 in our dividend and bring it down. All right, now we're back at number 1. Divide. How many times can 8 go into 60? 8 can go into 60 7 times without going over. 8 times 8 would be 64. That's too much. And so 8 times 7 is 56. 56. Okay. We subtract. We get 60 minus 56, and we get 4. One thing that I wanted to mention before we go on, when I put this 0, this first 0 here, all right, I need to also put a decimal point after the 3 to show that this is not 300. This is actually 3.00. All right, and so I have a decimal point, and it goes right there. Now, 8 cannot go into 4, and so I put another 0, and then I bring that 0 down. Now I ask myself, how many times can 8 go into 40? 8 goes into 40 exactly 5 times, and 8 times 5 is 40. I subtract, and I get 0. All right, now that I'm at 0, I have my complete quotient at the top. Now for the last step, properly placing decimal point and quotient. My decimal point and my quotient, this is my quotient, which is an answer to your division problem. My decimal point and my quotient goes directly above the decimal point I placed in my dividend. All right. And so here's my decimal point right here. And so my quotient or my answer would be 0.375. So if I want to take this fraction, 3/8, and convert it to a decimal, the decimal that I get when I do that is 0.375. Let's try another one. Let's say I had the fraction 1/4, and I wanted to convert that fraction into a decimal. The first thing I would need to do is write the fraction as a long division expression or a long division problem. And so this is 1 divided by 4. How would I write that as a long division problem? That is 1 divided by 4. All right, I'm going to actually put it over here so we can go ahead and get the problem started. 1 divided by 4. All right. Next, we're going to use the algorithm to find the quotient. And so the first thing we want to do is divide. How many times can 4 go into 1? If you said it can't, you are correct. And so 4 goes into 1 0 times. We multiply 4 times 0. 4 times 0 is 0. Then we subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. We have nothing to bring down, and so what do? We put a 0 here and bring that 0 down. Remember that we're going to put a decimal point right here before we start putting our zeros after the 1 to bring down. All right, now we go back to divide. How many times can 4 go into 10 without going over 10? 4 can go into 10 2 times. Now we multiply. What is 4 times 2? 4 times 2 is 8. And notice how I have these lines here for my long division algorithm. This can help you to stay organized with your numbers and make sure that you come up with the correct quotient. Now we subtract 10 minus 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. 4 can't go into 2, so I need to put another 0 and bring that 0 down. Now I ask myself, how many times can 4 go into 20? 4 can go into 20 exactly 5 times. What is 4 times 5? Now I'm multiplying. 4 times 5 is 20. Next we subtract. We get 0. When I have 0, that means that my quotient is complete. All right. Now for the last step. And that last step is properly placing the decimal point in our quotient. All right. And like I said before, our decimal point in our quotient, this is our quotient, the answer to our division problem. Our decimal point in our quotient is going to line up with the decimal point in our dividend. All right. And so our decimal point is going to go right here. And so 1/4 as a fraction is 0.25 as a decimal. All right. I hope you got something out of this. Thanks for watching.